seen from David DeJulius, Colin Castleton, and maybe Brandon Johns in practice and whatnot, kind of leading the younger guys going into March?
Well, David has been great in practice from the time back in September. I recall how active he was, communicating with the guys, and just saying all the right stuff about holding the guys accountable when we were lacking energy in practice one day. And it was great to hear from like a young guy who's a sophomore, seeing the growth. And I empowered it. I welcome it, because all that's going to do is help prepare him as a guy that's in his position, being a point guard, being able to take on a team, to lead a team. Colin is growing in that area as well. I like to see more consistency from Colin and Brandon, but I don't expect for it to happen overnight. Some leaders they have it within. Others, it takes time. But Xavier Simpson, you just know it's in his DNA. And I keep coming back to Xavier because he's just such a special leader. It came early, and when it happened, I don't know. Who it came from, I'm sure it had to come from a lot from his parents, as well as some of the coaches that he's played for.
Is David maybe more of a vocal leader than the other two?
Yes, David is more of a vocal leader, and that's great. That's what you want from your point guard.
James?
Juwan, I think Wisconsin leads in Big Ten play. They have the most made three-pointers, and I think they've made at least 11 threes the last 4 games. I guess what have you seen from them that they're doing so well to generate those open looks from deep?
Well, they do a great job of sharing the basketball. They're very patient offensively. Along those lines of the numbers you threw out, they're very patient when it comes to getting into their sets and running their offense and being patient, trying to make sure that when the defense, wherever the defense throw at you, they want the defense to make a mistake. So it's important for us to be very disciplined defensively.
And I think they have at least 5 guys who have made at least 25 threes. I guess obviously, how much harder is it to shut that water off when it's not just 1 or 2 guys you're kind of keying on?
Yeah, it's challenging. They spread you out, and they have guys who can make 3-pointers not only from a step behind the 3, but I'm talking about like 2 to 4 steps behind the 3. And it's going to be important that we guard the 3-point line and expect lone rebounds. That's another thing too. When they get the offensive rebound, they always find one another out there on the perimeter. So we have to keep them off the glass. Cannot limit them. We have to limit them to second chance opportunities.
Daniel?
Juwan, how is Eli's nose doing after the elbow that he took on Saturday?
Well, it's swollen. And he's, like I said earlier, he's still a handsome guy. Poor kid. I'm laughing because I broke my nose 3 times, so I know what he's going through.
Is it broken?
I'm not sure, but I've broken my nose 3 times. And at times it looks similar to how Eli's nose looks, so that's why I'm just smiling at this moment.
How does his nose look?
You'll see.
Is there a mask or something he might have to wear?
Possible.
Okay.
Yes.
Andrew?
On a lot of comparisons to how you guys are playing now versus earlier in the season. Wondering how much you think your guys learned from kind of handling success. Obviously, they jumped into the top 25 back in November, and then there were some losses there. But yeah, how you guys responded to dealing with success.
But the last part, you kind of got quiet when you said it.
Do you think this team learned anything from that experience earlier in the year?
Of course. That's what basketball is all about. It's an experience. Growing as a team. You're going to face adversity throughout the season. There's very few teams that have had a perfect season because of the fact that some may have had luck on their side. And I still believe that there's luck in sports. Unfortunately for us, we did not have luck throughout the year. There was some bad luck on our side. We faced injuries. So that's a part of how we going to adapt to that. We did not make excuses for ourselves. We just figured it out, kept forging ahead, stayed mentally tough through the process and trust the process. We will continue to figure out ways to try to get better no matter what. But our team has grown a lot.
Just to clarify with Eli, do you expect him to play tomorrow? Is there his status known?
I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to Alex Wong yet.
Okay. And then with the three-pointers that Wisconsin shoots, you guys are among the best in the country at limiting three-point attempts. What's your philosophy to running teams off the line and kind of minimizing their approaches?
Really? Thought we got past that now, right? How many of these have we had? We had a pretty, a lot of these press conference, or what do you call it, pressers. I'm not going to tell you, or nor do I want my opponents to know exactly what's our philosophy. Our thing is we just want to try to make sure we get a handball contest on every shot, whether it's inside the arc or outside the arc.
If I could modify my question, how easy was it to establish whatever philosophy that you have?
Oh, it's challenging. But our guys, they're able to adapt from wherever the philosophy was before to this year. We have smart players who have high IQs, but it takes a lot of reps. It takes a lot of practices in film to order to grasp the defensive philosophy that I have.
I was curious what your thoughts were on the one-time transfer rule that's been proposed recently.
Excuse me?
I was curious what your thoughts were on the one-time transfer rule, when athletes can transfer one time without any exception and be eligible to play immediately.
I haven't given that any thought at all. I've been thinking about Wisconsin.
Anybody have anything else?
I'm sure X and John are, have been focused all year, but I'm wondering if you see any difference in them, and, with March around the corner, their college careers kind of coming to an end, if they're even more locked in or have changed their kind of attitude or anything like that.
We haven't focused on any of that. We've just been focusing on our opponents and also growing as a team each and every day. I don't stress about the future, nor do they. We just lock in on appreciating what God has given us, the opportunity for me to coach, for them to come out and compete and learn and grow as players. That's what the focus has always been.
Mo Wagner loved the big games, loved playing in March. Do you kind of see that with Franz, maybe?
You have to ask Franz that. I just know that Franz enjoyed playing against competition, and he understands that this season we've had some really good opponents that we faced, non-conference as well as Big Ten conference, and with his experience from playing over in Germany, he's getting a chance to adapt to the collegiate style of play.
Chris?
You just talk about the mental fortitude that it takes to win in the environments that these guys did last week at Rutgers and Purdue.
Yeah, it's challenging. I don't know if many of you think that it's so easy. I'm not saying you guys have said it's easy, but our players, with what they're dealing with when it comes to, let's take the academics, and they have midterms coming up, I'm sure yourself, right?
3 this week.
And you do not have basketball practice, do you?
No, I don't.
Nor do you play any games out here, do you?
I don't.
All you do is focus on your academics, right? And my players, they have both. And so it's hard. And then you go into a hostile environment like Rutgers. Fans are just cheering against you and saying all kind of things about you and throwing things at you while you're sitting there on the bench. Our guys are able to go out there and stay locked in and focused and playing with passion. So I appreciate that as a coach. Then you go into Purdue, a place where another hostile environment, but not as aggressive as the other school. But we know that it's a tough place to play. And we haven't won there since 2014. I'm happy no one told me that before the game or the day before. Thank you, because I probably will have more gray hair and less sleep with bags under my eyes. But I admire how our guys went out there and competed and handled themselves from start to finish, with playing with passion, but playing with a lot of toughness and being locked in. I try to prepare them on just going out there and just having fun, enjoying this opportunity that is put before them.
And then a lot of coaches on campus have talked about how approachable you are with their athletes and everything else. Do you kind of feel a sense of duty beyond just being the basketball coach here to represent the university in that sense?
I'm gonna be me. That's all I know. So I was that way when I played here. I I'm not going to change now as a coach. Why? I walk on the diag. Passing out donuts, I enjoy that. I enjoy being part of this Block M. I really admire our athletes here, not only here at Michigan, but all over across the world. I know it's challenging, but to see how they are being able to do something they enjoy doing as kids growing up and playing the sport that they always wanted to play. I know how hard it can be, but I know how fun it is as well. So I enjoy going to the games and supporting women's basketball. I understand we're going to have a nice match on. It's Friday gymnastics is competing here at Chrysler. I will be there. Looking forward to the softball games. Looking forward. I love football. That's my passion right there, football. But not saying all the other sports. I am going to try to catch a soccer game as well as lacrosse. Learn more about lacrosse. My daughter plays lacrosse. I still don't know too much about it, but I love sports. I want to go to tennis games. I don't know how to play tennis, but I love it. Serena Williams is my favorite athlete. Serena, don't you know this? I'm your biggest fan.
James.
Juwan, I know this happened last week, but were you surprised when you heard the news that John Beilein didn't even last one season with the Cavaliers?
Well, Coach, I really respect his position on, he knew what was best for himself and his family. And with the decision that he made, I respect it. I'm always here, and I know he's always been there for me to help him. But I always will lend my support to Coach Beilein.
And obviously, as someone who's been in the NBA, I guess what's the difference of the adjustment going from coaching college kids to maybe coaching grown men?
Well, I've never been a head coach in the NBA, so I don't know what that experience is like. I was an assistant coach, thinking I know everything and giving all the the bright ideas, and to Coach Spoelstra, yeah, right, like it worked. But it's an adjustment on both sides. Going from the NBA to college and in reverse.
2 weeks left, and then it's obviously postseason and quick turnarounds, no prep time, things like that. So you basically have 2 weeks here to anything you want to tighten up or shore up. And I just wonder if there's any specific areas that you kind of have circled of that you want to address in terms of individual improvement or team improvement in the next 2 weeks before it's kind of one and done type time.
Well, always you can look at it like the growth mindset of how can we improve, and I've always approached it that way. Offensively, what can we do better offensively, and how you can get sets run, where we can get some execution, where it can ATOs, how I can improve on certain action, timing of the ATOs. I've always looked at how we can improve defensively, guarding the ball, pick and roll coverages, post defense. I'm always thinking. Mind's always working. I'm always spending time in film, trying to see what areas, how we can improve. But there is a lot of growth in our group, but there's still a lot more work that we have to do in order to get to that level where we want to be. We're trying to build championship habits here. That's the type of culture that I've always talked about since day one when I walked in this building. And one game at a time, that's how I'm looking at it.
Abby, you want to close this out?
I have to ask, why Serena Williams? I mean, obviously she's such a badass, but what about her particularly drew you to that?
First, the word you just used starts with that. And her toughness, mental toughness, for Serena to be such an amazing talent, to have a baby, and then come back and still playing at a high level. I think that's just amazing. That's why I always said women are some of the strongest that you can ever see compared to men. Sorry, man, that's how I feel. That's my opinion. That's how she pushes herself to get uncomfortable, how to be able to stay on top for so long at the highest level, playing at a high level. Just all the hard work that she's put into the sport. she's getting nothing but great results from it. So I'm admiring everything that she has done for tennis, and more importantly, just for being an athlete.
Okay, Coach.